Good morning, everyone. You can repeat it back. Good morning. I know we are technologists, and this mic is really giving a lot of feedback, so I know you're going to fix that eventually. Uh, Got to direct as you do this. My name is Fallon Wilson, and I'm the Vice President of Tech Policy at the Multicultural Media Telecom Internet Council, which is a very long name. DC loves long names, where we advocate for Black and brown people in the innovation economy as relates to access to internet, broadband, and future. And I have the ultimate privilege of talking to one of my best friends from the FCC. He is my best friend. I'm not just saying that. Right? Alejandro Roark, and he is going to tell you his amazing long title because DC loves long titles. Tell him who you are.
Good morning. My name is Alejandro Roark, and I am the Chief of the Consumer and Governmental Affairs Bureau at the Federal Communications Commission.
Told you it was long.
It is really great, I think, to be in community with you all, and I think most importantly, I consistently feel when I'm around people how great it is to be back in community with you all. I think those interpersonal connections are just as important as those kind of digital threads that connect us in the virtual world.
I guess we're really having a conversation today. We talk so much about this, but you have to tell people what you do. What is the Affordable Connectivity Program? Let's level set for all of our amazing technologists here.
So I think a couple of things. One, I've already learned so much, and we're only on panel number 2.
This is true.
Now I know who to go to help reset my password, which is always the hardest thing. So that was amazing, and she was amazing, and I definitely support, I think, modernizing the entire kind of digital ecosystem of the federal government, because for someone that kind of does a lot of engagement at the state and local level, I'm on those websites. I'm at smallmunicipalcity.gov, and you pull up their website, and the person that built it is probably 1991, right? We learned a lot of things since then. There's a lot of links. How do I navigate to find that information? And that's, of course, if I even have a connection, if I even have the internet that I need either on my phone or in my home to be able to even access the information that's posted on a government website. Right. So I think for me specifically, as someone that comes from the kind of civil rights arena, I realized early on that, the next frontier for civil and human rights really is at the intersection of tech and telecom policy. Because what we're doing today, what we're talking about today, it's really about defining and laying down the infrastructures of opportunity, both today and into the future. And so, I think about the global health crisis, and I remember hearing and seeing in the news all those kind of little girls that were doing their homework in a fast food parking lot.
The infamous Taco Bell.
That's right.
Right.
I remember seeing those images of people standing in long lines to get their unemployment benefits, people that had lost their jobs.
Right.
I think about some of those early on empty vaccination sites.
Right.
And all of those images were really a byproduct of, I think, a deeper root cause, and that was that oftentimes all of those people lacked the basic internet connection to be able to engage in life at that point, right? We were all in our homes. But I think people didn't know. People weren't able to make an appointment to get their vaccination. So you would see all these images in the news of these people ready, we've got vaccinations ready, we're in this area where we think people really need them, and people just didn't know, they didn't have the access, right? So people had to get really creative to go above and beyond to reach the communities that we know needed this life-saving vaccination.
People knew they did not have access, but government and communities and those who have power didn't realize how much communities did not have access.
That's exactly right.
That part.
And that's what we all learned. That became an undeniable fact, right? That we all kind of understood is that the internet was really not just a place where we can play and discover and watch YouTube videos. It really became the way for us to sustain critical aspects of our everyday life in real time.
And so what did government do, getting all of these stories? What did government do? What was the solution that government came up with?
I think what we realized, and again, it's somebody that's kind of been doing this digital equity work for a minute now, what many of us already knew, kind of working with historically marginalized communities, is that we're kind of telling ourselves these myths, right? That people don't understand the value of the internet, that people don't want the internet, that the people just really aren't that interested. But what we really got to the place where we understood that the reason that people weren't adopting internet service, that people weren't sustaining an ongoing internet service for themselves or for their families or their households is because of the price. The price has kept people offline for a very long time.
Right.
And so I think in the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, Congress was really intentional in saying, hey, let's stand up the Affordable Connectivity Program as a follow-on to the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program, which essentially is what gave people the opportunity, or I think just even the means to be able to oftentimes afford internet access for the first time.
So government gave us an internet subsidy.
They gave us an internet subsidy. The affordable. She's keeping us on track.
Trying to keep the time.
And so for those of us in the room that might not know about the Affordable Connectivity Program, it's essentially a federal benefit program that gives eligible households up to $30 a month on a new or existing internet service bill.
Right.
If you live on federally recognized tribal lands, that benefit goes up to $75 a month. And then people can also apply and receive $100 towards the purchase of a smart device.
Right.
So for all of us that have shopped for internet, all of us that I think are dependent on the internet to do our work, because we've got a lot of developer nerds in this room, right, that I think are on.
Brilliant people.
That really understand, I think, and use the internet in a very kind of high capacity way.
Right.
We really kind of understood that it's fundamental, it's important, right? And that this important subsidy allowed people to connect for the very first time.
Have people been signing up for? Has there been excitement? Give us some of the juiciness of this moment that government has done for us.
So as of this month, I think, we have over 18 million households that have been enrolled.
How many?
18 million households.
That's a clap. Okay.
18 million households have enrolled, which means that new people now have the new pathways to get online and to connect, to learn, to create, and to thrive in our 21st century digital economy.
That is so exciting. As someone who works with Black and brown communities, this is like an amazing thing government has done. And the way that the Federal Communications Commission, which is not normally a forward-facing entity, they have really, you and your new Office of Outreach has really done great work to make sure that communities can understand the information, have access to the information, the amazing grants and outreach grants that Congress gave us, but you are actually administering is going to be great. Tell all of these amazing technologists and creators and thinkers who have brigades in cities, what should we be thinking about in this new moment of ACP? What concerns you? What is the ultimate concern for the Affordable Connectivity Program at this moment?
I mean, I think the number one thing that I am consistently, I wouldn't say surprised by, but that I know is still an important team lift is when I kind of travel or visit there's a lot of people that still don't know about the program. We have, like I said, over 18 million households enrolled in the program, but there are many more that remain eligible and who don't know about the program and that don't know that they have this important kind of benefit. And I lost my track the first time we asked that I was talking about it. But we all know how expensive it is to shop for internet. And for us, maybe $30 a month doesn't seem like a really big deal. But we have so many participating internet service providers that offer high quality, high speed, low cost plans that would be entirely covered by the Affordable Connectivity Program. Essentially making the service free, right, for people that sign up. So that is a big deal.
Many of them signed on with the White House, with the Biden administration to offer these amazing low-cost options. I know because, I want to keep us on time because there's so many great things to talk about. He may not be able to say this, but as a civilian, I can. We really need to talk about funding the ACP. So we have, clap that up. We cannot have an AI future in the world that's being built if 30% and 40% of people in our country, especially our historically marginalized communities, don't have internet access because of cost. And so we're hitting a critical moment, and I know he, as a government, federal, amazing person, can't talk about this, but I can, that we really need to be talking with our brigades about advocacy and how to support the notion of how to find the funding, because what we don't want to happen is that we have gotten 18 million people in this country internet access, and that's going to go up. Why? Because y'all gave amazing grants. Yes, they gave out amazing grants to amazing community partners across this country, and so people are ramping up enrollment, and so our burn rate is very high. But we need to find a funding source, but we need people to advocate and to talk with their congressional leaders about a funding source. Okay, so that was my PSA. He can't say that, but I can. What else would you like to tell the amazing, because they have chapters across this country, and they work in hand with local and state government. What would you like to tell them that you need to support this program?
So I will kind of leave you guys with this. We're starting off the morning. You're going to learn from way smarter people than me up on the stage.
You're really smart. Don't do that.
But so the last time that I was with Code for America, Ben, I think, one of your people that were based in Hawaii, he looked at the audience, he looked at us, and he said, "We are the ancestors of the future." And in that moment, I thought, okay, that's a lot of pressure. But what I will kind of underscore is that everything that we do in this moment matters.
Right.
Right? This is a generational investment.
Right.
Right? To extend internet connectivity to every home, everywhere. And it is fundamental to us being able to participate, and like I mentioned, to co-create a future that is inclusive of all of us,
right.
To be intentional about how we build the infrastructures of the present and tomorrow, really grounded with a renewed sense of equity, access, to ensure that all of us can access it. And I think that is something that I offer you guys this morning, because I think it's something that I kind of carry with me, and I learned here at Code for America when the last convening. So I think that everything that we do in this moment will have a lasting impact. And a lot of us talk about this often.
Right.
And it's our day-to-day job. And so we think like, yeah, we know about this. It's important. Right. But I think it's also important to consider that many of us, our families included, that have real lives that have nothing to do with policy or promoting a federal government program, right, are really just trying to take their kids to school,
right.
Register their kids for school, like ensure that they're able to sign up for government subsidy programs if they need that. And I think that we all know in this room that it's also a moment to ensure that we are not further entrenching the mistakes of the past. And that only happens when we all show up with our values, with the culture of collaboration, when we are intentional about who is at the table and who is in the room. So those are all just things that I think that you guys are such a prime example of what collective impact looks like.
Right.
When we are all able to contribute in a meaningful way. And I think that fundamental to all of that, and I think because it's my job, right, is really ensuring and committing to the fact that everyone, everywhere has access to the internet.
And I could not have said a closing better than what you just gave. I would just simply say we have an opportunity to right the wrongs of history, as Alejandro said, and create a future that all communities can participate in by leveling out. Internet should not be an issue for why people can. And devices. Can we talk about devices? Yeah. Not over-indexing on mobile devices for communities of color, but actual devices so that they too can co-create. Both of those go hand in hand. And yeah, we are excited, and thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us.